So, how being sexually intimate with men can make you override your common sense and cloud your judgment. That's the topic of this video. So, sexual intimacy is one of the most powerful forces in a romantic relationship for women, right? Talking from a woman perspective in this video. While sexual intimacy can, it could strengthen emotional bond, or it deepen intimacy in a romantic relationship for the woman side mostly. It's also making us harder to see who our partner really is, right? So today in this video, we're going to explore how sexual intimacy can cloud a woman's judgment and override our common sense. How it could cause us to overlook hurtful behaviors and disrespectful behaviors, and look how it affects the way that we make decisions in our romantic relationship, right? So the way I came up with this topic is that I see a lot of women, including myself here and there. Sometimes I experience this when I think about things. I see a lot of intelligent, wise, knowledgeable, highly educated women continuing to be with men who are self-serving, manipulative, deceptive, disrespectful, selfish, exploitive, insincere, lust-driven, and just opportunistic man, right? And I wanted to do this video to just give my insights on this situation, right? So what I'm saying is, being intimate, sexually intimate, having sex with men, or in a romantic relationship, or dating, whatever situation you are in, it could apply. Marriage, anything, long-term relationship, it could blur your judgment and it could make you override your common sense, right? Most men are usually using sex and having sex because, they could be coping with a breakup after losing maybe a good woman. They could be just looking for pleasure without commitment. These are different, reasons why men are actually having sex, right? Because they want to manage and cope with stress and frustration by using a woman's body to relax. These are the negative side of why most men are having sex. Some of them, they just feel alone, or they feel bored in their romantic relationship or their marriage or whatever, and they're just looking to explore somebody new, or somebody that look exciting, somebody that looks sexy. They're just trying to explore sex with a different woman that is available to them or willing to have sex with them. Men are having sex because they see some sexually attractive woman and they just want to experience sex with them. They want excitement, or they're seeking something new. They're curious about experiencing some new sexual partner. Most men, they're having sex because they want to boost their ego. They want to boost their self-esteem. They're bored. They want to feel desired. They want to feel wanted, right? That's why they're having sex. They feel lonely, or most men are having sex because another reason is to cope with stress, to cope with anxiety, to manage difficult feelings that they are not addressing, right? Some men are having sex just to brag to their friends about who they had sex with and what they did, and they just want to fit into the group, so they need to have a lot of sex. They need to have sexual partners so they could fit into their group of friends, right? Some men, they have sex just to trap a woman, to stay connected to her, to make her life miserable, right? Some men, they have sex because They want to keep you close, they want to keep you connected to them, so that while they're in the romantic relationship, they could just stay lazy and give the bare minimum, and they believe that sex would fix all issues and all problems in the relationship, right? Some men, they have sex because they want to keep the woman hooked. They want to keep you obsessed with them, so they could just continue to benefit from you, or whatever they're interested in within you, they could just continue to get that, to use that, right? Some men, they have sex just to, they think that it's gonna increase their happiness for a moment, or it's gonna give them motivation to continue their life, or they're gonna feel some sort, they want to feel some sort of satisfaction, right? Some men, they having sex because they want to take revenge on some past issues that you had, or they're taking revenge on something, dealing with cheating, somebody cheating, or maybe you pull away, or something like that. That is why most men are actually having sex, whether you're dating, in a romantic relationship, long-term relationship, marriage, it could apply, right? So those are just negative aspects, or reasons why most men are having sex. So when we look at, like, on the woman side, right, I believe women, and I hear other women saying this, that we have more to lose when we involve ourselves, when we have sex with men, or we have sex with a romantic partner, or we're in a marriage, whatever you're dating, right? And some of the things that we need to pay attention to as women when we're sexually intimate with men is that this could cause a lot of stress, sadness, and anxiety. For example, you could get pregnant and you might not want a child, and that could cause stress and different problems, right? You could get STDs, STIs, even in a marriage or long-term relationship, because men are lying and men are cheating. And as we can see, men are cheating raw, without protection. So you could get AIDS, pregnancy, and different things could happen to you, and you could be left alone to deal with all of this, right? We know men disappear off the earth when there's hard circumstances, right? So most men, they would disappear, ghost, and leave you to deal with problems that they have created. Now, the other thing is that you could feel attached, being sexually involved with a man, whatever. You could feel like you're creating this bond, and it could be with the wrong man. It could be with somebody who doesn't respect you, and that is how you could start to feel shame, or you feel guilty, or you regret being involved with them. You could also experience deep heartbreak, grief, and disappointment, because your expectations, as you go along and you get to know them, or whatever situation you're in, you realize that your expectations are different. Or you eventually had sex and you think that now you're gonna move towards having a relationship, and this causes disappointment and grief, right? It causes sadness. It could cause you to feel depressed, because you thought that this sexual intimacy, whether you're in a relationship or not, it could spark love, or bring love, or make the man care about you more, or respect you more, or respect you more in your romantic relationship, right? These are things that a woman could be thinking. Maybe you don't say it out loud, but these are the negative aspects of women being sexually intimate with men, right? Maybe you're dating, or whatever situationship you are in, and you could have difficulty separating your romantic feelings from the sexual encounter, right? Men could compartmentalize better than women with these things, right? You could feel worthless, like you're not good enough, and like you're taken for granted when you open yourself up sexually to a man. You could feel like you're used, or you feel unsatisfied with the encounter or the outcome of the situation, relationship, dating, or whatever. You could feel confused if you're in a relationship, sorry, and his words don't match his actions. You're gonna get problems with that, and you're gonna feel used and abused because you're still continuing to have sex with that man, or you're in a relationship and you start to lose trust, and you realize that you probably think that you're moving forward, and you think that you're becoming more committed to this man, but then your relationship look like friends with benefits, taking you for granted. And that could cause you to feel used, abused. It could cause you to feel confused, and you don't really know where you stand or what is going on, right? And then you could have stress related physical symptoms from having sex, or having sex with men who have like a different mindset, or they have different values than you, or they have different goals than you, different expectations, right? And this could cause you to have trouble sleeping. You have headaches, changing appetites, muscle tension, emotional fatigue. All of these things can happen to you while you're sexually intimate with a man and you have different expectations, right? So in this video, I'm trying to show you how being sexually intimate with men can make you override your common sense and cloud your judgment. And one of the first things I would mention is that it makes you ignore disrespectful behavior. It makes you ignore hurtful behavior, because this strong attachment that you are feeling from sleeping together strongly, it's blurring your judgment. That is what I'm trying to say. For most women, sex can deepen feelings of closeness and cause you to invest more in your partner, and that will make it harder for you to just step back and evaluate the relationship objectively, right? Because all of these feelings and the bond that you feel and the passion that you feel, it's clouding your judgment, and you're ignoring, and it's making you ignore hurtful behavior and disrespectful behavior, right? And the next thing is that when you continue to sleep with this man, whatever situation you're in, it causes you to overlook the mistreatment that you're getting, right? Strong sexual bond can make you feel, can make you minimize and justify his behaviors, such as if he's dishonest, if he's disrespectful, if he's inconsistent, in and out, hot and cold, disappear, appear, if he's cheating, lying, manipulating you, taking you for granted. You're gonna overlook these types of behavior because you feel this strong sexual bond or attraction or this attachment to him just because of being intimate with him, right? So you will have hopes. You're having hopes that things would work out, and you're overlooking the mistreatment. And that is because of being sexually intimate constantly with this man. So eventually you would stay in an unhealthy relationship longer than you would because of the sexual activity you keep engaging in with him constantly without him facing the consequences for his hurtful behavior. Because being intimate, this passion that you feel, or this bond or the attachment that you feel, whatever is going on in your body is making you feel closer to him, or you feeling more connected to him. It's making you overlook the mistreatment that is going on in your romantic relationship, marriage, dating, or whatever. And the next thing, how being sexually intimate with men can make you override your common sense and cloud your judgment, is that you confuse the chemistry that you have, especially in the beginning, with being compatible, right? You could have great sexual chemistry, it could make you feel like this is evidence that we're meant to be, this is going to work out, this is the right man. When, if you take a step back, you might see that your values don't align, you don't have the same goals, you don't have the same communication style. You would not really realize that you're really not compatible with him, right? It will cloud your judgment. It would make you override your common sense, and you can't see that it's incompatible, right? The next thing is that you have a lot of hope in him, and you're not looking at the relationship for what it is. So being sexually intimate with men, or the man that you're with, could cause you to focus more on his potential instead of his behavior. Instead of his actions that he's presenting to you, you're focused more on his potential that never comes out. You start to believe that because you're sexually intimate with him, this is gonna make his behavior change for the better, or you believe that he's gonna love you more, or eventually he's gonna change and be better. And it's not, as I was saying on this channel for how much years, most men, they don't change, they stay the same, or they're going to get worse, right? So what happens with all this hope and believing in his potential, and you're not looking at the actions that he's doing, because you feel this bond and this passion and this attachment to him because of having sex with him, you're putting unnecessary time and energy into the relationship, and you're putting time and energy into recovering from his hurtful behavior, because obviously more than likely he's not changing, right? And all of this sexual intimacy could make it difficult for you to leave, because it's clouding your judgment. It seems as if the more you have sex with a man, or more you have sex with men, it's like your judgment is being blurry. This emotional attachment or bond can make it feel like it's really hard to leave. Even if the relationship is very unhealthy, very toxic, it's harmful, you have problems leaving because you're constantly engaging in sexual intimacy with this man. So the next thing, this strong attraction or sexual attraction that most women feel, it makes you focus more on his positive qualities while you're downplaying the serious flaws of the lack of character, the lack of integrity, right? You're justifying behavior, you're focusing too much on the good things, or the one moment he did a good thing, or that's what I'm trying to say. So like, sexual intimacy can deepen emotional bonds. The feeling you have with that man, that strong bond you think you have with that man, and what I'm saying is, not the bond that you feel is not the same as a healthy relationship, right? The best decisions comes from paying attention to the man's consistent action, pay attention to his character, pay attention to how honest he is, if he respects you, not just the feelings that was created by being sexually intimate with him, right? Hopefully, I hope you're understanding me, right, so far. So Most men, from what I see from my experience and watching other women in romantic relationships and what I see happening in society with men and women when it comes to love, romantic relationship, dating, long-term relationship, marriage, or whatever situation you're in, is that most men are not having sex to create an emotional bond with you. You know, they're not having sex with you to show love. They're not having sex with you. Most men are not having sex with you to show affection or they're not having sex with you to show how committed they are to you, to show how they care for you. They're not doing that. They're not having sex to maintain this closeness to you. And even if they're having sex to maintain the closeness, it's manipulative, right? They're not having sex with you to create or maintain or build an emotional connection with you. They're not having sex with you to share the pleasure. Sometimes they're having sex with you and you feel like they're taking from you, and it's not like a shared experience. So most men, from what I see in society, my own experience, other women experience, most men are having sex to just feel attractive. They want to feel powerful. They want to feel worthy. They want to boost their ego. You know, they want to collect partners, sexual partners. They want to boost their status. They want to manipulate you. Men use sex to manipulate you, to control you, to get affection, or you're using sex to get money from you, to get favors, right? What I'm saying is that the way that you would make them control you, and the way that you give them affection, or you give them money, or you lend them money, or you do favors, is because of the sexual intimacy blurring your judgment. This sexual bond that you think you're creating, that you're feeling, it's causing you to override your common sense. And that is why you willingly give money, you lend money, you do favors, you're making them control your life. You know, they still cheat on you, they lie, and you still stay because your common sense is blurred, or how to say this, cloudy, because of the sexual activity you're engaging in constantly, right? Hopefully you're understanding this. So men, they have sex because, you know, they want to pursue pleasure. You know, they want to improve their social status. They want to fit in with their friend group. They want to impress their friends about how much sexual partner they had, what they did with this woman. And whether or not you're in a romantic relationship, long-term relationship, marriage, men are having sex because they want to cope with their loneliness, their stress. They're escaping life. They're using sex to escape life. They're using sex to manage or to cope with their anxiety, their stress, the difficult feelings that they have, the difficult circumstances that they have. And they're not addressing these difficult feelings, so they're having sex with you. Most men, they have sex to take revenge on a current partner, or take revenge on a former partner. They're using sex as to control you, to have power over you, right? And they're also using sex to, you know, they're using it to use as a weapon to pretend that they want a romantic relationship with you, but they just want to have sex with you constantly, right? So those are some of the main reasons most men are having sex, from what I see, right? And now I'm not saying to completely avoid having sex with men or avoid all sexual activity. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying stop having sex with your romantic partner, stop having sex with in your marriage. I'm not like saying that. I'm not telling you how to run your sex life. I'm not telling you what to do. And if you choose to engage in sex with men and choose to be sexually intimate, I'm just telling you to remember that this could cause you to override your common sense, and it could cause you to have like a blurry judgment, and cause you to not really see the man for who he really is, because you have the passion and the bond and the emotional bond you think you're feeling, and the attachment is kind of blurring your vision. But what I'm saying is to, if you're engaging with men sexually, remember the real reasons why most men have sex, which I already mentioned, and you must always get tested often. If you don't want to get pregnant, to use birth control, use protection. You could get AIDS even if you're a wife, long-term relationship, girlfriend, whatever. Men, they cheat, and they cheat raw. They have children outside of marriage. They have children with anybody. Men, like, they don't really have a specific type. You could get STDs, you could get STIs. Maybe you're dated, maybe you're in a situation, you need to discuss the boundaries and the expectations of the situation or the sexual activity you're having, and you need to have an open conversation about what is really going on. You talk about respecting each other and be open to discuss feelings and the attachment that could be caused, and just be ready to move on when you feel disrespected, when you feel used, when you feel taken for granted, when you feel manipulated, whatever situation that you're in, right? So not every man has good intentions, right? Rather than judging someone by the words that they say, rather than judging by the sexual attraction that you feel, or the passion, or the bond, the emotional bond that you feel, or you might actually be feeling that bond yourself and it's not mutual, right? So instead of judging your relationship by that, you should pay more attention to their actions. Pay attention to if they're honest, if they respect you, how they treat you over time. Those qualities are a much stronger indication of their character than the sexual attachment. We could get our vision blurred by the passion that we feel from having sex with them, or the emotional bond that is created from being sexually intimate with them, right? We need to focus more on the character. If you have integrity, does he respect you? How is he treating you over time? Sexual intimacy, yes, it creates powerful emotions, especially in women, but your emotions and that bond that you feel should never cloud your judgment. Don't allow it to override your common sense, right? The chemistry and the sexual activity could be exciting, and the words that he's saying to you, the things that he's saying to you, might sound nice and convincing, but this does not reveal his character. This chemistry and the sexual activity and the intimacy you're having, it's not showing you his character, right? Character is revealed through consistent actions over time. Character is revealed when you see honesty, when you see respect, when you see they're taking accountability for their actions, words, they're treating you well. Those are things that you should be looking at, instead of having the emotional bond cloud your judgment, right? So what I'm saying, don't let sexual attachment or the emotions that you get and the feelings that you get from the sexual activity blur your vision. That passion that you feel, it could cloud your common sense, it could cloud your judgment, it could blur your decision making. That's what I'm saying, right? So Stop lowering your standards and stop sacrificing yourself for the effects of sexual chemistry with a man. So stop choosing confusion, stop choosing anxiety, and stop choosing all of that, because it's not worth it to be in a confusing relationship, to be in confusion in your mind, to have anxiety, to have regret going on for maybe getting pregnant. It's not worth it. So use the knowledge that you have, the wisdom that you have, the intelligence that you have to make the proper decisions, and stop focusing on the bond or the emotional attachment or the feelings or the passion that you get from being sexually intimate with a man. So that's the end of this video. I hope this helps. I hope you understand my insights, and thanks for watching. You could subscribe, like the video, you could comment below, and I'll see you in the next video.